Okay, so hey guys, my name is Jerome. I'm with Digital Velocity Marketing. We have today Growing Digital by Gurleen Dhillon. Hey guys. Okay, so hey guys, my name is Jerome. I'm with Digital Velocity Marketing. We have today Growing Digital by Gurleen Dhillon. And basically she is a social media marketer from Kelowna, BC. And she basically is doing really amazing things right now. And we wanted to bring her on so that she can tell everyone how she does what she does. So basically she does have a TikTok. It is called Gurleen Social. She has 20,000 likes on that particular channel. On one of, or maybe many of her videos, she actually has over 100,000 views to these videos. So when we talk about, growing digital, she's definitely doing that on her platform. She's living and she's breathing that. You can find her at Gurleen Social on TikTok. What she's doing on Instagram is she's growing a brand, and she gets out there. She's really funny. She's smart. She likes to joke around, but she also has a whole lot of tips for social media marketing. And she's really a really amazing person to go and look at and just check her out. Again, for Instagram, she is at Gurleen Social. And we're just going to get right into it and introduce her right now. Gurleen, how you doing? Thanks for coming on to the show.
I'm good. Thank you. Hey, everybody. I'm Gurleen. Thank you for that awesome introduction.
Yeah, no worries.
This is really cool being on a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear the questions and I'm super pumped to get started.
Perfect. So we're going to jump right into it. So basically, the first question that we have for you today is going to be, what online communities have you managed in the past? So you're nurturing communities, whether it's your own channel or for some of your clients, but what are those channels and what do you do on them?
Yeah, sure. So so for me personally, I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram for my business. And then at the same time, I also have personal channels where I talk a little bit more about mindset. So I have a YouTube channel, Instagram and TikTok for those as well. And then for my clients, we're mostly based on Instagram. So it's a lot about Instagram Reels and content strategy and everything like that. And my clients are pretty much all over the place. There's one of them's a psychiatrist, another one's a baker, another one's a financial advisor, another one's a wedding planner. So it really just goes to show how it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you should be on the platform. But yeah, for them, it's mostly Instagram.
Perfect. So in terms of Instagram, Instagram is a powerful force for a lot of different businesses. And if you have a business out there and you're not utilizing Instagram in a certain way, you're missing out on a big market. So if we had to get real about what's real with Reels, what would you say about it? Because you live and breathe Reels, and we checked out your Reels. I think the biggest one that you've done so far, like in terms of reach, right, has been 11,000 views. And I want to repeat that, it's 11,000 views. And you've only been doing this for, just a little over 2 years now, right? So tell us a little bit about Reels and what it's done for your business and for your clients.
Yeah, sure. So I've actually been doing this for a little over a year. It's only been a year. So
okay, my bad.
Yeah, but with Reels. Okay. So, I mean, like with my business, I've only recently been really full force with it. It's really hard as a social media manager to be managing your own business and doing your own social media because the main goal every day is my clients. But with Reels, oh my goodness, all of my clients have seen such huge impacts with them. Like we're not even just talking audience growth, but literal client growth for them, right? Because the reach is just so huge. I like to call it free advertising at this point, right? People use paid ads to reach that many people. And as long as you have a strategy, there is so much potential in Reels to grow, to get seen, to even get seen within your community. And even if you're a business that's not working with people outside of your city, you can still get seen by people in your city just with including some hashtags. So Reels are crazy. Instagram is totally favoring them right now because they have that little battle with TikTok. But it's good for us. So
Definitely.
yeah.
So because of your Reels and how you promote it so well, we decided to do a little test here at Digital Velocity Marketing because we weren't playing into the Reels. So we did a little bit of a test. I did a very simple video, just a simple video of a fast forward of me working for one of my clients, here at my home office. And then I attached, some wording in there and I ran the Reels. It was crazy the reach that we got, actually. I mean, right now it's still climbing. I think I'm reaching to the point of like 4,000 different views on it, and it's climbing. And the cool thing about it is I believe that when Instagram comes out with a new feature, they favor that feature in such a crazy way that once you start to see that growing, then they just get in front of all your different followers and then even further than that. So it's really, really cool to see that Reels are changing the game for a lot of different people. And I think it's comparable to what can happen on TikTok is you could drop your very first video and go viral. And it's just crazy that way. So jumping into another question for you here, Gurleen. So what strategies would you use to generate leads for your clients in terms of social media? Like what's some of the main strategies that you find work for your clients?
Oh yeah, sure. So I mean, Reels, like all of their packages always include them because we pretty much don't go about creating content without having the Reels in the strategy because it wouldn't make sense. So there's that, but then there's also a lot that goes into what point you're starting at. So for example, if I have a really new client where it's like their Instagram's kind of like not even clear on what they're doing, we would start with their bio, and then go into their highlights and then go into the posts. So we really make sure that first of all, if a new person comes to your page, do they know within 2 seconds what you do? Because if it's not clear, there's no point, right? So then after that's all ready to go, then we start coming up with a strategy within each post. So it starts with awareness, kind of like how all marketing goes, where it's like starting with awareness and then going into consideration. So creating posts around their business that make sense for new people to see is pretty much a strategy. And then I combine all the little back end things, which is like what reel is going to do well, what audio is going to do well, high quality photos, copywriting in the captions, right? So a lot goes into it.
Okay, cool. So when it comes to TikTok, right? Because we just kind of took a look at your TikTok and we see what you're doing there. Did you start TikTok before you started Instagram, or were you on Instagram before you got to TikTok?
So I was on Instagram before I got to TikTok. I was kind of like on both. And then I had a phase where I really went full force with TikTok. And I think for me, the turning point with some of those viral TikToks was breaking down the content I was putting into my TikToks so narrow, so like into such small pieces, and then creating a bunch of TikToks on that, where there you get an inflation of content creation because you have so many TikToks. And then secondly, it's just easier for people to digest. So I went towards the TikTok route, but I did have some trial and error, obviously, to really get
Yeah.
like good with the camera and like
Totally.
speaking on it, and it was and everything. But yeah, now I'm kind of on both. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you're like, now you are basically on fire, right? Because you can see the transition, like when you start from the bottom, which we did, and we take a look
Hmm.
at going forward, and you see that climb. And when you talk about growing digital being your brand name, right? It is your
Yeah.
brand name.
Hmm.
And you can definitely see that there's growth from
Yeah.
day one to where you're at now. And I think right now you kind of figured out exactly like what you want to do and how you need to do it. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think that plays a good point to what you were just saying, that you were just figuring it out in the beginning. I think we all are when we start on any social media platform. We
Yeah.
don't really know exactly what our audience is really going to relate to. But
Hmm.
I like the fact that you are constantly giving out tips, and then you add a little humor into it. And I think people really like that, right? So
Yeah.
when we get clients over here at Digital Velocity Marketing, just so that the audience knows, we always recommend people that we think are someone to watch in terms of TikTok, because TikTok is such a new thing for a lot of different business owners.
Hmm.
They don't really know how to establish themselves on there. So we go check out Gurleen social, because she's doing it, and
Yeah.
you can watch her and see what's going on there. So that's really, really cool. So here's a fun question for you. Hopefully it's fun. You say on your TikTok, like in the caption above or just below your name, you say to your audience that you were in university. Like, could you play on that a little bit and tell
Yeah.
people what
Yeah.
that means? Like,
No, this
yeah,
is totally a fun question.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love telling people this.
Good.
So yeah, so a little bit about that is when this all happened and when this all started for me was right when the pandemic started.
Okay.
And I'm really fortunate in that way where a lot of people lost jobs and they lost a lot of opportunities. But for me, it was the complete opposite. I got an opportunity and I had more time to understand about the online world. So
Mm.
when COVID had started, I was in school. I was doing a bio degree. Like I knew I liked bio, but I was at a point where I was just going with the flow. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea what was in store for me. I knew I was good at bio, and that's about it.
Wait a
Right.
second.
So,
Wait a second. So explain to people what bio is for a second, and let's touch on that.
oh yeah, sure. So I was in a general biology degree in
What?
university. So yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah.
So you were in university, you were taking bio, but
Hmm.
you must have had, like, how did the connection with social media marketing, because it just seems like two different worlds, right? So you decided to take a chance on something,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like, why?
Yeah, sure.
Why? Tell us.
So it was kind of at a point where I was doing my bio degree, but I was at home more and I was on social media more, right? Like I
Hmm.
had time freed up from not commuting, not going to classes. So I don't know how I think it was through TikTok. I found a lot of accounts that were talking about making money online, and I
Yeah.
wanted to learn more about it. I've always been interested, so I took a course where they talked about all the different options, and I was like, might as well take a course to learn what the options are now that I'm at home. Online is kind of where we have to be, right? So I took that and I learned about all the different things that you could do. There's drop shipping, there's providing services online.
Yeah.
And they talked more about social media management. And I was like, that is so cool.
Mm.
I've always had an eye for kind of being creative. Like I'm a creative person and I loved art growing up. And then in grade 12, when I was on the grad council, I was doing a lot of marketing. Like I had no idea what marketing even meant. But now that I look back at it, I was doing so much marketing for the events we were having and
Mm.
I loved it, but I didn't even know there was a name for it. And then I was like, okay, so social media management is pretty much the best of two worlds.
Yeah.
That's that combined, right?
Yeah.
So then, like going a little bit deeper into how I even got here is I started learning everything I could about it. I went full force. I went on YouTube to learn how to cold call. I literally typed up how to cold call, and I made cold calls, and
Nice.
my palms were sweating, and it was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
scary. But I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this and I'm going to make like a better life for myself and be able to have this dream job, this is what I had to do. And when I landed my first client, I was just like on top of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just amazing. And then I realized when I got to my second client that I couldn't grow if I was doing school at the same time.
Yep.
And I was seeing so much growth in this, and I was going quick, right? So I was like, this is a point where I have to make a tough decision. But I went with my heart and I dropped out. So
well, we think that, yeah, we think you made the right decision. And, you know, we're not saying like, you know, to any young people that are watching this, you know, drop out of school or anything like that. We're saying that you have a dream, you have a passion, it's worth going after. And I can relate to that actually, because, you know, when I was, you know, starting workout, you know, basically, you know, doing jobs, I was an iron worker. Like no one knows that about me, but I was an iron worker for years and years and years. And then, you know, basically we moved and, you know, I started in sales, right? So then I dove into sales and I started making, you know, e-commerce platform, or sorry, e-commerce shops online, right? And so I created my first business and it was called Dr. Delio. You know, and it was all about selling deals. And I had no idea at the time that the passion wasn't in, you know, the creation of the business. It was about the marketing aspect for me. And so I dove right into that passion heavy. And then I took a job with, you know, the Economic Development Society here in my community. So I worked hard with them, did social media marketing. I did the, you know, the marketing coordination with a lot of tourism type businesses. I think I worked with over 120. And then I said, wait, these people need some serious help, you know, definitely just getting online and just having that presence. And I understand it really well. And just like you, I dove into YouTube and I dove into all these different things where I basically could learn, you know, and just dive into a whole bunch of education in regards to that. So, you know, I applaud you for, you know, doing that, you know, and sticking to it. So next question for you, Gurleen, here we go. So how do you deal with negative comments? For anybody out there that's got a business, when it comes to negative comments to your brand, that's a reputation crisis at the end of the day. And how do you deal with it?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, with my clients, it's a little bit harder for them to get negative comments on Instagram, just because one of the key factors, which we'll probably get into later, is engagement on Instagram. So that's all about building a community. So most of the people who do engage with them it's very, very positive feedback. Like they've never had a negative comment. But on TikTok, it's a different story, right? People are ruthless, and I've connected with a lot of creators, and we all have the same thing to say, where it's like those bot accounts commenting whatever on your TikToks. The way I deal with that is honestly just to ignore it, not let it get to me at all. Because at the end of the day, it's like people who are negative, it's like you must hate your life, which is why you're taking the time to put this comment out there. And I honestly just feel bad for you, because at this point, clearly I'm doing something better than you in some way. So that is hurting you, which is causing you to post a negative comment. So honestly, if there's other people listening right now who are like, I don't know how to deal with negative comments, tune them out, listen to the positive comments, but honestly, just keep your head down and do what feels good to you, and more good will come back to you. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And for anybody that's listening, trolls are real. Okay. So, I mean, it's a real thing out there. And I think if you're doing anything that's in a positive light, people there'll always be someone that's going to hate on what you're doing. And don't let that break your mold, because, you know, you are great, you are worth it, and you can do the things that you have passion for. So I think that's really important to hear. Okay. So here's a good question I thought was really, really good to know. So how do you check and stay on the latest updates? So when it comes to trends, I mean, you're so busy with clients. How do you stay up on the trends? Like what's the tricks that you use that, you know, keep you fresh? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I follow a lot of experts in my niche. I'm always looking to them for advice and just what they have to say, because everyone has a different view at the end of the day. And that's kind of how I stay up to date with trends. But with content, it's really just like, if you see something you like and you thought was a good idea, right away, just push out the same thing, but obviously just take inspiration from it. This is not a copy and paste kind of thing, but take it right away, take the inspiration from it, and then switch it up a bit and make it your own and put it out there. Because if you like it and you thought it was different and eye-catching, then everyone else is going to think the same thing. I feel like a lot of times what happens with us as business owners is we see a trend, we'll see it in our feed or something, and we'll think it's cool, and we're just like, oh, like, put it off, I'll do it one day, that seems fun, and then the trend's gone, right? Yeah. So it's kind of really just about, when I consume a minimal amount from experts, and then just hop in and take the action, because that's what's going to bring you the results.
Definitely. And, you know, just to add a little bit to that, in regards to digital marketing, you know, and running my business, what we do for clients is we make sure that we take a hard look at, you know, when we do SEO, for example, search engine optimization allows you to look deeply into your competition. So in regards to trends, you can take a look at your industry leaders like you do and see what's working for them, and then create something that's similar but in a unique way. And I think that's really important. A lot of people don't do that. You know, they don't think to do that, and they just they try to be the trendsetter, you know, just right off the bat. And you got to kind of like, you know, crawl before you walk, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
So in terms of social media marketing, when you got your first client, because we were talking about that just previously, when you got your first client, how did that make you feel? And, you know, could we touch a little bit more on that for anybody that's, you know, struggling to get their first client? Like, you know, what worked for you, and how did that feel to be able to bring that client in?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was like one of the best days ever. Like, it's so funny because you get to, when you keep growing and you get to a point where it's like you have 5, 6 clients, you forget about that feeling. But it's always nice to revisit that, because it really makes you grateful and makes you see how you felt in the moment, and that you should always be appreciative. But how I felt was absolutely amazing. I mean, like, it was one of the only clients that I actually got to meet in person, because she was local to Kelowna and she was so close to me. So it only made sense, because all my other clients I haven't even met in person, which I hope one day the world allows me to. But I remember driving home and just like blasting my favorite song and being so excited. And
what was the song? Was the song? Tell us. What was it?
Indian song.
Yeah, that's okay. Tell us.
It's called Toxic by AP Dhillon. It sounds, it's a vibe, okay?
Okay.
You'll have to listen to it
after. Check it out.
And you'll get the vibe that I'm talking about. But
all right.
It was just amazing. And with that, it's just like you have to always come back to that moment. And like the other question you asked was how for people who don't have their first client, what to tell them to do. What I would tell you to do is keep consuming whatever you can of the people who are in your industry that are successful. For me, it was like whenever I would feel down, I'd see someone, I'd be like, well, they did it, so why can't I? You know what I mean? Girls my age, girls who have been doing the same thing, they're doing it while they're doing university. They're juggling both things. I'm like, why can't I? It's literally COVID. I have nowhere to go. I'm at home all the time. I have so much free time if I allow myself to, so why can't I do it? And I just told myself that as a promise to myself, I'm not going to stop until I prove to myself that I can do it, because once you do that, you will eventually prove it to yourself, and then everything gets easier from there on. It's really just about having trust in yourself that you can do something. Yeah. And I think the way that trust can come is if you look back at your other accomplishments, even if they don't have to do with what you're doing now. You just have to reflect and see how you actually have so much more power than you think.
Yeah. And you don't need to be, like an amazing influencer or, have a million, TikTok fans or any of that, and anybody that's out there that's thinking, oh, well, when's the right time for me to start something like this? Well, there's never a right time. The time is now, and just get out there and do it. Yeah. So, Gurleen, would you take yourself as a scrappy type girl? And the reason why I ask is because in every business, there's always competition. So how do you compete with them? and how do you stay above your competition, or how do you plan to stay above your competition?
Yeah, absolutely. So for myself, I mean, I'm kind of like in the middle. I think that some certain situations do bring out a side of me that's a little more competitive. But at the end of the day, when I hear my feedback from my clients, it's just like all the affirmation that I need, right? That like I'm doing a good job, and they chose me at the end of the day. So like, yeah, with competition, what I do is I don't really pay that much attention to them, just because I realize that there's just so many businesses in the world, and there's always someone that could use social media marketing or
Definitely.
marketing in general, right? When I go out, I'm always looking at ever since I've started, I've looked at brands differently, I've looked at businesses differently,
Right.
and there's always someone I see that it's like they could use marketing. So I just feel like that there's just so much room for all of us right now that it's like you can do it. And
Yes.
even though sometimes it seems like there's like too much competition, it's really just about what you're consuming. Because if I'm consuming all the experts in my industry, it's going to seem like there's so many people doing the same thing. But that's just because that's what I decided to consume, right? If you look at the reality of the world, there's so many businesses that need help. So there's enough room for everyone.
Especially right now. I mean, with COVID hitting, a lot of businesses are transitioning, and actually there's been record-breaking numbers of new businesses actually popping up versus years in the past. I mean, there's plenty enough room for all of us to be out there. I think when I first started my digital marketing company, someone said to me, "Woo, there's a lot of digital marketing companies out there, Jerome." And I said, yeah, well, I'm young and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kill it. And I just had this confidence. And I think if you have that confidence and you get out there and you do it, I mean, you mature as you grow. And, that's the best part about doing business, is when you start to mature and grow. Because I mean, even for you, Gurleen, we see the maturity like that you have today versus, what you did when you first started. You know what I mean? There's always going to be a little bit of confusion for anybody, who's just starting off, because you're basically nurturing a baby right now. And, you don't know what that baby is going to grow up to be, but you hope good things, right? And so you do it your way, and that's cool. So getting into another question for you, Gurleen. We're not going to take up too much more of your time here.
Yeah, no worries.
But we do have some hard hitters for you, okay? Okay, so in terms of social media marketing again, right? Do you recommend blogs to your clients? And if you do, is it a tactical reason for any sort of SEO style things? Or do you think that it's just like, how do you perceive blogs? Are they important for your clients, and why?
Yeah, sure. So I recommend blogs I do recommend them to my clients. I feel like a lot of my clients are at a stage where they're very new to the marketing space. So I don't try to push it on them too much. But it's definitely important because there's just so much potential with the blogs. One of my clients does have a blog, and it really helps, even for me as a social media marketer, to take content from there, to direct people from Instagram to there, to see more long form content. But yeah, definitely, you should always have a short form content platform and then a long form content platform. So if you don't want to do blogs, if you feel more comfortable on video, YouTube. Go for YouTube. If you don't feel comfortable on YouTube, you can always go to Pinterest, right? There's so many different ways that you can do that. But I definitely think that all forms of marketing that exist, they're all there for a reason. So blogs is definitely one of them. I think they're a piece of long form content, and you'll know who the real ones are when they message you saying they really liked a blog post, because they took the effort to actually read it, and it shows your expertise as well. So I think every single person would benefit from a blog for sure.
Cool. So in terms of running your own business, I mean, everybody out there that's running a business has to learn how to pitch to a client. So we thought we'd do something fun with you, Gurleen. I'm a client. I'm looking for a social media manager. how would you pitch me? And try to pitch me is what I'm basically
sure.
trying to.
So, I mean, okay, I'll try to like think of ideas of what your business already is, because that's what I usually take. Okay, I'll just kind of play with this as well. So
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So you're looking for a social media manager.
Yes.
Can I ask you why you're looking for a social media manager?
Yes, great question. So basically, we're looking to position ourselves more online. We want to be able to engage in a more personal way with our audience. We noticed that a lot of people are on Instagram, they're on TikTok, and we just want to get on there and we want to gain some of that traffic and, basically grow our brand and get more reach and get our brand in front of more people. Yeah.
That's a perfect thing for you to be thinking. And I want to let you know that you're already way so many more steps ahead of the game than some other business owners, because they don't even realize that. So the fact that you do is amazing. And so that's pretty much what I focus on. I think the first thing you're going to need to understand is that Instagram marketing and TikTok marketing are separate, and it takes time and effort to do each individually. The strategy is different, the time put into it is different, but they're both worth your time. So what I would say for you guys, we would start off with Instagram. We would take the content that you have and start putting together a strategy that's going to work for you. I've noticed on your Instagram, you guys aren't really engaging with the community. You aren't really engaging with the comments on your posts, and that might be just because you're a business owner and you don't have time to do that, which totally makes sense. And that's why I'm here, because I don't expect business owners to be able to handle their social media and be their own social media manager all the while running their business. So that's what we're going to do for you. And just know that you're in good hands, and I can show you all the past client results I've had to see why this would be the perfect thing for you.
You're hired. But just to make it clear, we do digital velocity marketing. We do reach out to our people. I think Gurleen was just playing there, right, Gurleen? No. But so another question for you, Gurleen. When it comes to what you're doing right now as a business owner, do you find that it's hard to kind of keep up on your own social media platforms in terms of like working for your clients? Because I think, as digital marketers, whether it's social media marketing, digital marketing, whatever you're doing in that marketing space, your business kind of goes on a back burner at times, right? Especially when you're that one person, trying to run it, right? So how do you do it all? Like, you're a superhero. How do you make it happen?
Thank you. No, I mean, I've had gaps of times where I've been so stacked on client work that my business goes on a back burner, and it kind of gets tough because I want to nurture my business and I want it to grow as well, but then I also have clients, right? So I know that that's how my clients feel anyway, and that's why they're reaching out to me. So I've been more kind with myself recently, and I've really just come up with a schedule that works for me. I mean, as a social media manager, I know I can make reels and I can make content. It comes faster to me than most people because it's my job, but I still don't expect myself to come out with content 7 days a week, have heavy hitting content every time, just because it's not the capacity of my brain that can handle it, but it's really just the time in a day. So I've just been nicer to myself, and that's how I keep showing up, is that as long as I'm consistent, even if it's 2 posts a week, even if it's 1 post a week, as long as I'm consistent with that schedule, that still means I'll grow and I'll have steady growth too. So when I come back to it and I do have time, it'll just be better overall. So that's kind of how I deal with it. Yeah.
And I don't think that, like for anybody that is listening, you don't need to spend a lot of time trying to, be so strategic with your content. I think that, getting out content that's just, true to you, that's true to your audience. In any business, you got to understand your audience really, really well. So, in terms of content, just making sure that you're consistent, and that's the main key, basically, right?
Yeah.
And the content doesn't have to be crazy. Like, it doesn't have to be this big thought out thing. I mean, I put out stuff that was just on a whim, just set up a camera, just talk to people, and it hit hard. And so I think in terms of that, I mean, you just have to get out there and be consistent. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
So for your audience, Gurleen, and for anybody that's going to be listening, what is one thing about Gurleen that people don't know? What is something that you want to let out there that people would not know about you that are just looking at you on a social media platform?
I think like a lot of the clients that I have, they get a little shocked when they know my age. I mean, I didn't think it was that shocking, but I guess that could be something.
How old are you?
The fact that I'm 22 and I dropped out of university to do this. I think that's like the biggest thing that people don't really realize, because I don't market it too much, but it's a huge part of me and why I'm here, and just being a young entrepreneur. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that where I came from, and it's only been just a little over a year. But yeah,
it's exciting. It's exciting to see, someone's so young, getting out there and just being, as confident in your business as you can be. I mean, starting off young is always the way to go. I think, for any business owner, you start out young, you learn quick, and then you grow big. And that's what we hope for you. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, Gurleen, you have a serious passion for it. You seem like you really want to help people. And I think that's really important to know in social media marketing. These business owners, they don't have the time to, properly establish themselves online. And I think maybe that could possibly be a lot of your bread and butter, is these business owners that see this young person who knows knows the platforms very well, because it is an ever changing, space for a lot of people. And I think in our community, I don't know how it is in Kelowna, but I know in my community for sure, there's a lot of older demographic that are looking for a much younger, fresher look at their business. And I think, that's where, we kind of, hit the mark in terms of that, right? So we just have a few more questions for you. So 3 tips to improve a social media strategy. Can you tell us about that? Yeah.
So 3 tips would be consistency, like I mentioned. So this is kind of going to be a summary of all the things we've been talking about. So definitely consistency. Come up with a plan that works for you, that will fit into your busy schedule. You have to realize you're a business owner and you have other tasks that you have to handle. So come up with a strategy that feels good to you. If 3 posts a week feels too much, then don't do it. Schedule in 2, schedule in the day that you're going to plan it ahead, which is also part of that tip. And then secondly is having a strategy in general. What is your intention with each post? Don't just throw something out there because you feel like you have to and it's your posting day. You need to really have intention behind what you're saying, and think about your ideal client when you come up with that content. So that would be tip number 2. And then tip number 3 is just be authentic. Like, honestly, the thing that makes everybody different, the thing that makes me different from another social media manager is me. It's the fact that the way that I come up and the way that I speak, it's my personal brand. So make sure you're developing that aspect of your branding online as well as you're on social media. We want to see behind the scenes. We want to see what you ate today. You know what I mean? Bring that behind the scenes in and establish your personal branding, because that's what's going to make you different.
I like that. So we got one more question for you, Gurleen, before we let you go. And we're going to hit you with a cool quote that I know you're going to love. But what is next for Gurleen? And this would be a perfect time for you to drop that plug, let the audience know exactly, where they can find you and what's next. And I think I know what's next. And I think it has something to do with the live, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, sure. So today, I mean, next, as in like just in a few hours, I do have a live where I'm going live with another social media manager we're going to be talking about all things Reels, which is going to be perfect for our audience because it's going to be how to come up with ideas for Reels, because I know that's what a lot of business owners struggle with. So that's what we're going live about today, which is really exciting.
What time? What time is that going to be at?
Yeah, sure. So that's going to be at 5 p.m. PST.
Okay.
So it's just I think like an hour and a half from now. But I'm really excited to go live with her and talk about all things Reels, because I feel like it's really going to help a lot of business owners out. But if we're just talking long term, what's next is building my community online, getting those business owners to my page, and so that they can have a free resource of social media marketing tips, because I'm always here to help. Like if anyone ever even DMs me and is like, this post didn't do that well for me, like, do you have any tips on what I should do differently? I'm kind of struggling. I'm always there to help, and I'm always putting out content that I feel is going to be beneficial. So that's pretty much what's next. I want to build that audience and that sense of community so we can all support each other on the platform. So
for sure. Yeah. All right, Gurleen. Well, we just want to say thank you for dropping in today to give us all the details about social media marketing, give us a fresh new look at what that looks like for this day and age for business owners, and even just for people that want to grow up and go on social media marketing and get into that whole platform and get into that whole business, right? And start their own business, right?
Yeah.
So we'll leave you with this very beautiful quote that I know you're going to love. So it goes like this: set your mind on a definite goal and observe how quickly the world stands aside to let you pass. The way of success is the way of continuous pursuit of knowledge. Happiness is found in doing, not merely processing, but never quitting, because a winner always wins and a loser always loses. And you know what that's from?
No.
It's from a book that you love, and it's called Think and Grow Rich. I think you were studying.
I was like, it's so
I knew
familiar.
you knew. I knew that you knew what it was going to be, man. All right. Well, hey, I just want to thank you again so much for coming in. I'm going to make sure that I get a quick snippet out there to let people know on my platform about your 5 o'clock p.m. Learning about Reels on your Instagram. And thank you again so much. And we're going to be tuning into that. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
All right. See ya.
See ya.